Hey guys, welcome to an interesting video on Wild Rift. So we're back with a Vayne commentary guide, and this match is an absolute banger. Now I'm sure you guys can already see from the title of the video that we are obviously going to get a penta kill in this match, and we are obviously going to fall behind by a whole lot, by 10k plus to be exact, and of course this is a really good learning opportunity for everybody, and which is obviously number one, to not give up and still try to play and win the game even when you're behind, and number two, how to do so. Now I am of course on Vayne, and Vayne's build has basically not really changed very much at all, and we'll of course go through that as we get into the video itself. But the first thing I want to talk about, so you guys can see it live in action, is laning phase. So here you guys can see we're against a Lucian and a Thresh. This is an incredibly strong early game lane, right? If I get caught by Thresh, Lucian can burst me down and I can either instantly die or blow all my sums, something like that. Whereas I'm with a Rakan, a fellow engaged support, but as you guys can see here, he engages in. I can get a couple of free attacks, but you guys can see here, when I get caught, I am in trouble. So here I have to blow the exhaust on the Lucian. Lucian has exhaust himself, but he doesn't even choose to exhaust me because he knows that Vayne basically does no damage and doesn't even choose to waste his summoner spell on me. So instantly we are already at a disadvantage because this is not how you want to play the lane. You want to ideally stay safe, but of course when Rakan goes in, that is an opportunity to get 1 or 2 free auto attacks, because we don't want to give the enemy a free lane, in a sense that we basically don't attack them at all and we just keep on getting shoved in by them. We don't want that to happen. So what we want to do is we want to show that although we are playing safe, we still do deal a little bit of damage to them so that we are somewhat threatening. Like you guys can see here, Thresh is pretty low, Lucian has lost a little bit of HP as well. This also has the effect of setting them up for a gank. So we have a Lee Sin, and if Lee Sin does come in, there is a relatively good chance that we can blow some sums or get a kill if they are chunked out. So of course, aside from that, we basically just want to farm up and get to 2 to 3 items and carry. So of course, Vayne's build in this match, I'm actually going for Blade of the Rune King first item, standard first item for Vayne. Then I'm actually going to go for Wit's End for the attack speed and for the lifesteal when you're below 50% health, as well as the on-hit magic damage, and Karma ends up doing well as well, so also for a little bit of that magic resistance. Then I like to go into the Bloodthirster. Before we go into that, we're going to talk about Lee Sin's gank here. It didn't go too successfully, but it did manage to blow Thresh Flash, so that there is something there. So we did get something out of it. Of course, Rakan blew Flash as well, so it's kind of a flash for flash trade. Nothing too big of a deal. Lee Sin comes in for the repeat gank, kicks Thresh into the wall, and we do get the kill. We get Lucian's flash, and I flash forward to try to kill him, finish him off. Doesn't quite work. Irelia comes in, I exhaust Irelia. Obviously she's waiting for her Q cooldown here, hits level 5 off of that kill, and unfortunately kills me as well. So really unfortunate chain of events there, where Irelia got her Q cooldown, got it, reset it, and then hit level 5, and then was able to ult and then kill me as well. It's just unfortunate of a situation. We did the best we could to capitalize on Lee Sin's gank there, and unfortunately we didn't really manage to kill the Lucian because Vayne has no damage in the early game. So back to the build. We go to Bloodthirster for AD as well as the lifesteal, because obviously we have more than enough attack speed from Lethal Tempo, from from Lethal Tempo, from Blade of the Rune King, and from Wit's End already. And then we go to Phantom Dancer for a little bit more attack speed, but mainly for the defensive stats. And finally we top it up with an IE. Of course, if you need GA, you can go for that as well, but in the later stages of the match, I felt confident enough to actually not go for GA because the enemy team wasn't really focusing me. We'll talk a little bit more about that in the later stages of the match. So for the runes, we have Lethal Tempo, of course for the attack speed, because Vayne is all about proccing those Ws. Rakan goes in and doesn't actually manage to do very much. Here I actually make a huge mistake, and what I did there was I realized Rakan was in trouble, so I actually tumbled forward to allow him to jump to me. However, in doing so, I put myself in danger and caused me to get flayed by Thresh and ulted, so that huge slow from the Thresh ultimate meant that I could not get away. So in hindsight, what I should have done is maybe walked up to try to let Rakan jump to me instead of actually tumbling forward, because Rakan still has quite a lot of HP there, so he could have just, you know, taken a bit of damage and then hopped back to me. By the way guys, what Rakan just did here is pretty bad, which is that he basically used his W on the wave and cleared the whole wave, which basically means that I lose out on one entire wave of golden XP. if you're playing support, you shouldn't be stealing farm from the ADC. Now, I was, of course, walking back to lane, but the enemy team wasn't actively pushing tower or anything like that. So what he could have done is just recalled and let the tower slowly kill the wave. I still would have gotten at least like half or 3/4 of the wave, and by doing what he just did there, he has starved me a lot of off a lot of gold and XP, which is very unfortunate for me and puts me even further behind. You guys can see that I'm only at like 3.4k gold, and if you take a look, that's like the same goal as Thresh, and the whole enemy team is like 1k gold ahead of me, which of course is not where I want to really be. But you know, we're playing Vayne, we're 0, 2, and 2, and yeah, sometimes playing Vayne is just like that. Of course, there are games where you do get a hit on Vayne in the early game, and those games get really accelerated. But a lot of games you'll find that you are like 0 and 2, something like that. It's not very rare, so yeah. But now we do have Blade of the Rune King. As you guys can see there, when we proc it on Lucian, it did do a chunk of his health. So Lucian at the current moment is 1, 0, and 2 with a Storm Razor. We obviously do not want to 1v1 the Lucian, especially if we don't have Blade of the Rune King up. But if circumstances are right, like if he is like lower down in health or if he's next to a wall, it is possible. So here I do auto, I Q into the wall to actually cancel the animation to get out my enhanced auto attack a little bit more quickly, and that did of course make it such that he took damage faster and he's a bit lower. So here I see him dash forward, and here I proc my passive on him. Here I'm actually flashing forward to get the kill on him, but unfortunately Thresh comes in, gets Lucian back in, and he gets the kill on me. Now, what mistake did I do here? The mistake wasn't necessarily engaging onto Lucian. The mistake was I got exhausted by him and I ate the whole out to the face, whereas I couldn't get my exhaust on him. Now, I swear when I flashed, I was mashing the exhaust button, but I'm not sure if I was out of range or what was the problem, but somehow my exhaust did not go off on Lucian, and because of that I ate a lot of damage from his culling and I died. If my exhaust went off, I believe what would have happened is I would have finished the kill on Lucian and I would have been in a 1v1 versus Thresh. Now whether I live the 1v1 versus Thresh, considering he's between me and my tower, is a question mark, but at the minimum I would have killed Lucian for sure. So it's really another unfortunate case. Now I'm 0, 3, and 2, very far behind. I'm 4.4k gold, and the lowest goal on the enemy team is like Thresh and Karma, who is at 5.6, so we're very far behind, and my team as a whole is already 6k gold behind just 7 minutes into the game, which is horrendous. Now, I'm going to briefly talk about the other minor runes we're taking. The only change I have to the runes is I actually have sudden impact on Vayne now, because as we know, Vayne basically dashes non-stop, and with sudden impact she can do a lot more damage outside of just proccing her passive. And aside from that, I think if I'm not wrong, I think I have Hunter Titan, because Vayne has very short range and is very prone to getting CC. Here, very nice catch by Rakan. I go in on Lucian, but unfortunately Rakan gets the kill, so again I'm still 0, 3, and 3. I still have no kills. Very unfortunate here. Of course Lucian doesn't have a shutdown, so it's not the worst in the world, but a kill with accelerated me greatly, and Rakan with the KS, pretty much horrible support gameplay for Rakan, but hey, you know, it is what it is, and we can't really change that. We can only control what we do. Here Rakan is obviously dead, so here I'm not gonna really bother. I'm just gonna run all the way away. Lee Sin is actually coming down, so I'm just trying to bait a bit, but at the same time I don't want to get flayed by Thresh, so I actually condemn him away, but Lee Sin kicks him right back into me and I do get flayed by him. I try to exhaust Irelia to help out Lee Sin, but it just doesn't work. And by the way guys, for my last rune I have Nimbus Cloak, of course for that move speed when I cast my summoner spells. But yeah, so here I realize that the enemy team has enough manpower to take the tower and I cannot really defend it on my own. I don't want to die anymore, so instead I'm just going to let them take the tower, and then I'm going to try my best to take this farm, which Morgana is desperately trying to steal from me. My whole team is literally not allowing me to get the gold that I need to try my best to do something in the late game. But anyways, now we actually have both Blade of the Rune King and Wit's End. Now I actually forgot to pick up my boots in this match because I was really focused on just getting the item components. You always should get boots after your first item at the latest. It's kind of a thing that changed in the shop, like after patch 3.5's update, that it doesn't recommend you boots after first item anymore. Anyways, here we find a good fight. We get condemned onto the Karma. We unfortunately do not get the kill. Here we have a very good fight against Irelia. We flash to avoid the culling. We get the shutdown on Irelia at long last. And here we're tumbling away from the Thresh, and Lucian is running the wrong direction, and he dies as well. And Thresh is left on the run versus the Lee Sin. Basically, it's almost a clean ace at this point, so we're just going to turn on Herald to get that. Lee Sin does pick up the kill onto Thresh, which does give us the ace. Here I managed to actually secure the Rift Herald, so this will actually allow me to take down the tower and get the gold off of that tower, so really crucial that I got the Herald here. I'm just going to Herald down mid to allow us to get mid lane pressure, as well as, of course, clearing that mid lane tower, which is the most important tower in the game. And my team is so behind that we have gotten no towers. Wukong is 0 and 2, Morgana is 0 and 3. Lee Sin is actually doing well, he's actually 6 and 3, but unfortunately, all of the goal is on him. He's only gotten himself a hit and not his laners a hit, and Lee Sin cannot really like 1v9 carry, he's not that sort of champion, so we do still find ourselves in trouble. Here the enemy team is doing the dragon, and here I'm hoping to get a good fight where I can stay in the backline and just shred people down. Here my team already goes in, dragon goes down to Irelia. Here I'm just attacking basically whoever is in my range, trying to finish off the Thresh, but I don't quite manage to finish the kill. He's left at 1 HP, and I end up dying again. So fortunately though, Morgana does manage to finish off the Thresh, but same story is that now I'm 2, 4, and 6. Now, in terms of gold, it's not too bad now. I'm at 7.8k. That is at least more than the Thresh is at 7.3, but still behind everybody else on the enemy team who's all at 9k and above. So we're still really far behind. And my team is, you know, almost 10k gold behind at this point. We're going to reach there eventually, but yeah, you guys can see here we're 9k gold behind the enemy team at this point, and it's only going to go downhill from there. So I'm sure a lot of people are wondering how I managed to get a pentakill and win the game in the end. And we're going to see exactly how that happens. So first up, what we've been doing already is, number one, we've been trying our best to avoid deaths. Now, of course, we did, you know, pick up a couple of those. We already got 4 deaths on the board, but we're doing the best we can. Number two, we're just basically trying to collect any farm we can. You guys can see here we have a huge wave in bot. We're gonna instantly rotate to this wave. Thankfully, we don't have any teammates trying to steal our farm this time. So here I'm going against the wall to actually cancel my Q so I can clear wave faster. Vayne is pretty poor wave clear, so as a result we're gonna have to try to use the animation cancel on the wall to try to clear the wave as quickly as we can, because we don't want to waste too much time. Now here I spot the enemy team roaming up for a fight in top, and I decide to do what I think is the best decision, which is to continue clearing waves, because what happens here is, in the fight with my team, we're really badly behind. There is no real guarantee that we're going to win the fight. Here you see I'm considering going there again, and then I realize, number one, I won't make it to the fight. Number two, we are probably going to lose the fight just based off the fact that we are now like 10k gold behind. Or rather, we actually just got some kills, so we're not quite 10k gold behind yet, but we are like almost 10k gold behind. So I realized that, you know, everybody on the enemy team is there. Like, we can see 4 members of the enemy team top, 1 enemy dead, so I can pick up yet another wave. So if you guys notice here, I just picked up, like, I believe it was like 4 waves, 4 full waves, and here I'm also picking up this tower. So I got 4 full waves and 1 tower while my team was busy dying in the top. You know, in my opinion, getting 4 waves and 1 tower is worth like 2 to 3 kills at least. So I basically got a triple kill in the bot lane without actually killing enemies, basically. So here you can see that my goal now is like I'm like now at 9.8k. Now of course it's still not as much as the enemy team, but it's getting close to the Lee Sin who has 6 kills, by the way. So here Thresh almost gets caught out, but doesn't quite get caught out. Instead, it is Rakan who gets caught out. I actually exhaust the Lucian and try to save Rakan's life, and it does actually work. Rakan actually stays safe. However, instead it is Lee Sin who goes in and donates his life to the enemy team. So Thresh tries a proto belt forward for, I believe, a Flay, but he runs straight into a Morgana root. So at this point it's still really bad. I'm still 2, 4, and 6. It's still really dire, and again, I'm just making the best play I can given the situation, which is to just pick up farm anywhere I can, be it the jungle, the lanes enemies are not in, or whatever the case may be. That's all I'm trying to do. This leads me to having like 2 item components of my Bloodthirster already, so I'm just trying my best here. I'm just trying to harass the enemies while staying safe. Wukong actually goes in. avoid the Karma ultimate, and here I'm ulting in, I'm trying my best to kill anybody, almost get the kill on Darius, and here again I condemn Irelia into the wall. Irelia hits the stasis, I target Thresh instead, I flash over, kill Irelia, Thresh hits me with the hook, and I'm trying my best to run them down. Here I see a lot of enemies down here, so I'm just trying to kite around them. Here you guys can see Lucian has the stasis as well. I kill Karma. Here I tumble away from Lucian's Q to pick up the kill onto Lucian as well, and Lee Sin, I believe, finishes off the kill on Thresh, and this actually gives us a clean ace over the enemy team. But guys, take note here, look at the goal. We're still 9k gold behind after acing the enemy team. So obviously before that, I think we were like 10 to 11k gold behind. Like, you can rewind the video before that fight and you can see I didn't really take note as I'm commentating over the video, but we were at such a major gold deficit. But the enemy team had a really bad fight there where they all died, and as a result, we got Baron buff on my entire team. So this Baron buff is huge, but the issue is that Dragon is spawning. So Dragon sort of forces us into a fight against the enemy team. Like, the entire enemy team is respawned as well. So here, I'm trying to quickly pick up this wave before Morgana can come over and steal the wave. I managed to basically get every minion other than one. And here we're rotating over to the Dragon. Now I have no idea why the enemy team didn't immediately rotate to this Dragon as well, but if they did, they could easily have contested it. For some reason, they all do not rotate, and only Thresh comes in after we basically already got the Dragon, and as a result, we get a free kill on Thresh. Now this is actually huge, because number one, we got the Dragon, and prevented them from getting triple Drake, but that's not the big deal here. The big deal here is that Thresh is now dead, so now we are 5v4 with Baron, and this gives us a huge advantage in terms of outnumbering enemies and pushing. You can see we have a 3-2 split, where me and Wukong are busy pushing bot, whereas the rest of the team is busy pushing mid. Lee Sin actually goes in from a flank, on a flank versus the Irelia, and forces Irelia to ult. Lee Sin also ults her back toward us, so it's a ult for ult trade, as well as getting Irelia's flash, as well as a flash for flash trade, I should say. So here, basically what I'm doing is we got 4 cannons. I'm basically staying out of Darius's range, and I'm just staying around so that the Baron buff goes onto the cannon minions. Now I have to be honest here, what happens here is, right about now, I accidentally hit my ult. I meant to condemn the Darius away, but I accidentally ult instead. Thankfully, 3 enemies are actually mid, so I actually can somewhat use my ult against these enemies. So here I basically shred the Thresh such that he has to recall, and we basically end up getting all the enemy towers, except for the inhibitors, which is kind of a downer, but you know, we take what we can, and we're going to use the Baron buff for a fast reset. And here I actually complete Phantom Dancer, so at this point, I have 4 items as Vayne. Now, at this point, I'm 5, 4, and 9, but the KDA is not the important part. The important part is the fact I have 4 full completed items, which basically means I'm almost at full power. Vayne is completely online at 4 items. Arguably at 3 items, she is already online, but at 4 items now, I'm completely online. So I'm ready to fight as long as I'm not the main target. So here I spot a fight happening. I was actually planning to take red buff, but I spot a fight happening. I rotate right over, because at this point, I know I can take the fight. So here, as you guys can see, I'm in the back line, basically not getting focused. I get hooked by Darius, I flash away, and here I'm attacking whoever is closest. In this case, it's Darius. I kill the Darius, I continue tumbling away, I kill whoever is next. It's the Thresh, and here I get exhausted. Rakan with a very nice triple knockup. I roll in to get the kill on Karma, then I have a full stack lethal tempo already. Here I dodge the Irelia stun as well with the tumble, and I get myself a penta kill. Now honestly, I feel that if I didn't dodge that Irelia stun there, I think I would have just died to Irelia, considering how fed Irelia is. She was 11 and 4 at that point in time, with like 4 full items as well. So I think I would have died to Irelia if I didn't actually dodge that ability. But anyways, there we have it. There is the penta kill, and if you take a look now at the goal, we're still behind the enemy team. No surprises there, but we're now only like 2k gold behind, so it's a very manageable goal difference now. And also, in addition, we have the enemy's middle inhibitor. Now, middle inhibitor is the least important out of the 3 lanes' inhibitor, but you know, getting any inhibitor is amazing, and we still have all 3 inhibitors up. So here we recall, and I complete my Infinity Edge. So now I'm at full build, and obviously there's going to be no stronger point in the game for me. So here I'm ready and willing to fight. We're headed all towards Baron because that's the next objective up. The enemies basically all come to face check Baron, and that's a huge mistake from the enemy team. Wukong comes in with a huge engage, and so does Lee Sin. Here again, I'm staying in the backline, attacking whoever I can. Irelia has finally realized that she has to focus me, so she comes dive me in the back line, but it really doesn't matter at this point. I'm too strong to really get killed by Irelia at this point. So you guys can see she tried to focus me, but I have too much attack speed, too much lifesteal at this point, and I basically just shred and destroy her. Now, with Irelia and Karma dead, this basically gives our team another free Baron, and also the Elder Dragon is spawning in 10 seconds. So obviously I'm now full build, there's no reason for me to actually recall or reset, so I'm gonna head over to the Elder Dragon with the Sin right away. Of course my team isn't actually with me, so we do have to be a bit cautious not to get picked off by the 3 remaining members of the enemy team, but here we're gonna start to rush the Elder Dragon. Irelia is still dead, so we should be able to get this Elder Dragon pretty easily. Thresh tries to come in for the steal, but doesn't really work because Lee Sin has the smite and thankfully does not mess it up. Now, the only main issue here is the fact that while all this is happening, the enemy team's waves are all just pushing in. Like, we've lost top inhibitor to a huge wave on the enemy team, and Thresh is now running toward bot because he really doesn't have anywhere else to run. Now here is where my team, in my opinion, makes a huge mistake. Now what we should have done is we send one person to clear top, and that same person can then go down and clear bot, because Thresh cannot really take a tower by himself, and the rest of us should have just gone mid and forced the end. We have Baron and Elder now, and our Baron is running out because it took time to take Elder and all that, but now you guys can see that we only have me, Morgana, and now Rakan is pulling up on mid. We have Wukong and Lee Sin in side lanes. We cannot really commit to fighting in mid lane because if we get outnumbered 4v3 and we all die, this could basically throw the game to the enemy team. So what we should have just done is everybody just runs down mid and just ends the game, or just gets into a fight and just, you know, finishes up the enemy team off. Finally, Lee Sin comes in with the wave. I stun the Irelia, we get the kill onto her with the Elder Dragon buff, and we take down the inhibitor. But either way, we play it slow, and now we have a huge stacked wave coming into the base, and I basically don't care about kills anymore. I'm just going to focus the base and get the win, considering how this was such a come from behind win. So anyways guys, as usual, I'm going to leave you guys with the stats. So thank you guys so much for watching this video, and goodbye.